Action.
Hello, my name is Tristan Peterson, and this is my presentation on my game, Battle of the Frostman. The story follows the young warrior Castor on his quest to become the next royal blade for the Princess Iceland Rivera. He will be joined by the previous royal blade who will mentor him, Shivan Ymir, along with his childhood friends Ileric Sorel and Callum Revist. The game takes place in the continent of Arcadia, more specifically these two eternal winter-like countries. Volslick is a snow-covered land, with the highest peak of the Ivara Mountains. Meanwhile, Tolgriff is a frosty, icy wasteland under an eternal winter. Castine is the main character the player will play as. Shivan Ymir, he's the mentor of the character. He'll train the entire group in ways of combat. Ileric Sorel, childhood friend. He is best friends with Castine and will stay by his side forever. Callum Rivlis, he's more of a loner of the group. Despite being childhood friends with Castine, he still tends to stay by himself. The damage types depend on your weapons. For example, a sword would be slashing damage, which would be strong against a lightly armored opponent, but weak against a heavily armored opponent. But if you use a warhammer, that would be strong against the heavy armor opponent, but not as strong against the light armor opponent. Magic. The magical elements, fire, water, earth, light, dark, void, and wind, all have different types. Void, for example, isn't really an attacking kind of magic. It's like a utility magic. It allows the player to use teleportation spells, while fire is like a single target, where he does direct damage to a target, and dark, area of effect, different amount of damage to each enemy. There is multiplayer in this game. Players just drop in, drop out. The story progresses for anyone involved. It's up to 4 players. The progression system, as the player kills, they'll gain experience. They can use the experience on stat points. The stat points to fill up the main stats, like strength, dex. Strength, for example, ups melee damage. Dex ups the dodge. A quick attack is a light attack. What the quick attack is, usually you want to get a minuscule amount of damage without taking as much damage yourself. For a heavy attack, you want to dish out damage. That's what that's used for. While it does have a slower animation, it gives you more of a chance to be hit by the enemy. Dodge, it's a combination between a roll and a dash. By holding the dodge button, you'll be rolling, which will give you more iframes but take more time in the animation. Dodge is just for like a quick, if he's jabbing at you, use the, not dodge, dash. Use the dash, you avoid the hit quick and you can get back to attacking. Parry, the parry mechanic allows you to try to time it perfectly to interrupt the enemy's attack, and you can repulse them and deal a massive amount of damage to them. And guard allows the player to use a shield to do so they don't have to dodge. Enemies. The basic enemies, no armor. They don't really have a strength versus weakness. They take decent damage from all weapons. Light armored enemies, they take far less. They take a little bit more damage than the basic enemies, but they're still not as tanky. However, they have resistance against bludgeoning type weapons. Heavy armor, weakness against bludgeoning type weapons, but massive amount of health pool. If you're using a sword, you will do minuscule damage. It's best to choose a bludgeoning weapon. Story bosses, these are bosses with their own cutscene, their own storyline, lore, and they appear in the main story. Side bosses like at the end of side dungeons and stuff. Pretty much, if you want to do side content, that's the boss. It has nothing, no special cutscene, no over-the-topness. It's just, that's a boss. The mini-boss, it's a stronger enemy. It's stronger than all the enemies you face, but it's not at the level of a boss yet. But it is a powerful enemy that can deal a lot of damage and has a good health pool. So, what else is in the game? Bonus content. There's the insane difficulty, which doubles the damage, doubles the rate of their attack, and doubles their health, making it really challenging to try to beat. There's also trophies, which are like achievements throughout the game. You do certain things. Completing the story chapters give you an achievement. killing a hard boss, beating the game on insane difficulty. They all give you different trophies. The first DLC is called The Lost City of Lunaria. It takes place after the main storyline to develop more into when Castan becomes the Royal Blade. In summary, this is a fantasy action role-playing game where the player will fight multiple bosses and have to solve puzzles. The player can choose to play alone if they so desire, or they can team up with NPCs or even their friends. The player will be able to explore the 2 open worlds of these Frost countries. Thank you for watching my presentation.